What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here. And oof, this is rough. Crypto is looking pretty bad, as even major mining farms are giving up on cryptocurrency. So, here is a report here 2 days ago from Tom's Hardware, and it states major Bitcoin mining firm, so firm or farm, pivoting to AI plans to fully abandon crypto mining by 2027 as miners convert to AI and massive Bitfarm to leverage 341 megawatt capacity for AI following a $46 million Q3 loss. So that's pretty insane. That's a pretty major loss there. And they're like, all right, we're out of here. See you later, Bitcoin. We're moving into AI. Let's take a look what Tom has to say here. Are you looking for ASIC miners, but just not sure who to trust? From most popular brands to bestsellers to miners of the week and even deals of the moment, ASIC Mining Central has you covered to the cheapest prices out of any ASIC website, as well as import fees will be low with low tax with DDP or invoice, and code RABID will grant you an additional $50 off your order. Head on over to ASIC Mining Central today for all your ASIC mining needs. Links down in the description. Now back to our regular scheduled program. So guys, as we know, the price of Bitcoin has been crashing. A lot of people say it's different this time, but it seems to be following to a T perfect 4-cycle rules, and it's doing it again, declaring that October was a pretty 99% chance to be the peak. But we don't really know exactly what's going on because I can't predict things. But let's move into here and see what is happening from the world of Bitcoin mining. So AI is now more lucrative than Bitcoin, especially if you have the infrastructure in place. So major Bitcoin mining farm Bitfarm has announced that it will pivot its business. Like, this is Bitfarm, named after Bitcoin. And it announced that it is saying goodbye, Bitcoin. You are no longer worth mining anymore from a huge standpoint. So maybe that's better for us home miners, but again, I doubt it. But it will pivot its business from cryptocurrency to AI data center services by 2027. So they're going to, because obviously their miners are not going to work on AI. So they're going to have to get rid of all their Bitcoin miners. So there's either going to be a huge sellout sale happening there, or they'll just throw it in the landfill and they don't really care because they're probably rich anyway. But they're going to have to get all these GPUs and AI infrastructure. Well, they got the infrastructure, but they're going to need all the hardware. They're going to revamp and move into AI. So that's very interesting. Anyway, although it's not the largest crypto mining firm in the US, it still has a sizable operation with 12 data centers dedicated to Bitcoin mining. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard of Bitfarm. So they are a pretty big deal when it comes to Bitcoin mining. According to Decrypt, the company's current energy capacity sits at 341 megawatts, which it could take advantage of to deploy several thousand NVIDIA GB300 NVL72 server racks. We continue executing on our HPC AI infrastructure development strategy with fully funded supply chain and plan to convert our Washington site to support NVIDIA GB300s with state-of-the-art liquid cooling, said Bitfarm CEO Ben Gagnon in a statement to Decrypt. Despite being less than 1% of our total development portfolio, we believe that the conversion of just our Washington site to GPU as a service could potentially produce more net operating income than we have ever generated by mining Bitcoin. Now they say than they have ever generated, not just that they're currently generating, but what they have ever generated. So Bitcoin mining their entire infrastructure for however many years they've been doing it, they think that this one department is going to make more than they ever made with Bitcoin, which is a huge number most likely. So that just goes to say how much AI is actually paying if you can get the right GPUs and stuff. Now, obviously, we're not talking about fake crypto AI here. We're dealing with expensive super hardware in order to do real AI, not crypto AI, which is pretty much just rental services. So Bitfarm posted a $46 million net loss during its third quarter earnings call, which is almost a 91% year-on-year increase on net losses from third quarter of 2024. So they've been losing money for not just this year because of the crash, but they've been losing for, I guess, a little bit now. Although Bitcoin reached an all-time high in early October, its volatility meant that the company could not consistently rely on it for its operating costs. So, they have analysts and stuff. They should have known, like, dump all your Bitcoin, sometime in October when it hits that peak. The cycle's pretty much said that's going to happen, and it looks like the bottom will happen in 2026 in October as well. I talk about that in live streams, but again, not financial advice. Anyway, okay, so moving on now. Aside from this, its new T21 mining rigs did not perform as expected, leading to a 14% reduction in its hash rate guidance for 1H25. So pretty insane here. Now, moving on, alongside its plan to convert its Washington data center, the company also converted Macker, whatever this is, debt facility worth $300 million into financing for its Panther Creek, Pennsylvania data center with a potential capacity of at least 350 megawatts. This site, which adds to the company's 1.3 gigawatt energy pipeline, could potentially make it one of the largest players in the AI data center industry. So that's a big deal. 1.3 gigawatts of energy. Wow. At the moment, Bitfarm has 341 megawatts of energy capacity, meaning it does not have to negotiate with power providers and local governments to acquire more power for its data centers. This would help them avoid the power bottleneck that other hyperscalers like Microsoft are expecting. With its CEO, Satya Nadella, saying that this company has AI GPUs sitting idle in inventory because it does not have enough warm shells to plug into. That is pretty insane here. This pivot would help Bitfarm capitalize on the massive demand for AI processing. However, it's also taking more risks, especially as many experts are saying that the AI industry is already in a bubble. And I've seen a few things on this where I do see some people stating, now maybe it's just, content engagement on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, that they're saying this bubble is ready to explode, possibly worse than the Bitcoin bubble ever was. But again, who knows what's going on. But moving forward, with the investment to completely move from crypto mining to AI data centers expected to cost hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, a crash of the AI industry could potentially bring down the company and take the lending institution with it, alongside several other companies, and lead to trillions in losses. So it's a pretty big gamble that they're taking, but they are stating that AI could potentially pay them more just with their one Washington facility than their entire company has ever made on Bitcoin. And that is insane to think about on how much AI, real AI, is actually making right now. All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps up this video, but I am curious, what do you guys think of a pretty massive mining farm like Bitfarm getting out of Bitcoin completely and possibly moving it all into AI, as well as their statement where at first, when they just moved their one facility, that it's going to make more than they have ever made on Bitcoin. So that's pretty insane. That's a pretty bold statement coming from a staple of Bitcoin mining farms. So this is not looking good for the future of Bitcoin, as that is obviously going to be a security drop. But at the same time, maybe it's going to allow some of us home miners to transition into it. Remember, in the next 4 years, we are going to see another halving. The block reward will only be slightly over 1 Bitcoin. So that's going to get pretty rough there. But again, the price should skyrocket. But each cycle, we see smaller and smaller pumps on Bitcoin. Even though it looks like a lot bigger number, the actual amount of pump that happens in between each cycle has been slowing down and getting smaller. So it's pretty crazy here that we'll have to see if Bitcoin continues to grow the way it has been, or if it slows down more, or if it even picks up some speed. But thank you for checking out this video, guys. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest cryptocurrency news and mining profitabilities. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.